The discovery began with two independent researchers who happened upon the same vulnerability. Roy Paz, a senior AI security researcher at RAMCHANDANI, and Alexander Pauwels, a cybersecurity researcher at the University of Cambridge, each located the unsecured data through their own investigations. What they found was a publicly accessible data lake that should have been locked down, but was not. Inside this exposed repository sat close to 3,000 assets that had never been published. These were not live pages on Anthropic's website. They were draft materials sitting in a content management system that had been misconfigured. Anyone who knew where to look could find them. The cache contained draft blog posts, internal planning documents, and other materials the company had not yet released. Among these files was a draft announcement describing a new model called Claude Mythos. The document laid out capabilities and concerns in detail, including warnings about cybersecurity risks that the model might pose. It was all there waiting to be discovered. Pauwels reviewed the material at Fortune's request. The publication then contacted Anthropic to inform the company about the exposure. Anthropic moved quickly after being notified by Thursday evening. The company had removed public access to the data store. In a statement, Anthropic acknowledged that a human error in the configuration of its content management system had made the draft materials accessible. They described the unpublished content as early drafts that had been considered for publication. The leak was not the result of a sophisticated hack. It was a simple mistake. Someone had left a door unlocked, and the researchers had found it open. The incident highlights how easily sensitive information can slip out when organizations manage large amounts of internal content. A single configuration error can expose thousands of files to anyone searching in the right place. So what actually caused this leak? It was not some sophisticated cyberattack or a hacker breaking through firewalls. It was something far more mundane. Anthropic called it a human error, and that description is accurate, though perhaps a bit too generous. The problem started with Anthropic's content management system. The software the company uses to publish blog posts and other content to its website. When someone at Anthropic uploaded content to this system, the CMS had a default setting. Every asset, whether it was a draft blog post, an image, or a data file, was automatically marked as public, and not just public within the company, public to anyone on the internet who knew where to look. Think about that for a moment. The system assumed everything should be visible to the world, unless someone specifically remembered to change that setting. It is the exact opposite of how secure systems should work in security conscious organizations. The default should always be private. You should have to take deliberate action to make something public, not the other way around. This configuration error meant that nearly 3,000 assets ended up in a publicly accessible data store. These were not published on Anthropic's website. A visitor to the company's blog would never see them, but the files existed at public URLs that anyone could access if they knew the address. And as it turns out, finding those addresses was not particularly difficult for someone who knew what they were doing. The CMS also assigned predictable URLs to these assets. Once you understood the naming pattern, you could potentially find other files using similar logic. This is exactly the kind of oversight that security researchers look for, and in this case, they found it. Anthropic moved quickly. Once Fortune alerted them to the problem, they removed public access to that data store. But the incident raises an uncomfortable question: how many other companies are making the same mistake right now? The leaked documents revealed something that caught everyone's attention. The draft blog post mentioned two names that at first seemed unrelated: Claude Mythos and something called Capybara. But the materials make it clear that both names actually refer to the same underlying model. Mythos appears to be the model itself, while Capybara represents something different. It is a brand new tier in Anthropic's product lineup. Until now, Anthropic has organized its models into three distinct tiers. Opus sits at the top as the most capable option. Sonnet offers a middle ground with faster performance at a lower cost, and Haiku serves as the smallest and quickest of the bunch. But according to the leaked materials, Capybara would sit above all of these. It creates an entirely new fourth tier that the company describes as larger and more intelligent than anything they have released before. The performance claims are striking. The documents state that compared to Claude Opus 4.6, which was already Anthropic's most powerful model, this new Capybara tier achieves dramatically higher scores across several demanding benchmarks. Software coding shows substantial improvement. Academic reasoning scores jump significantly, and cybersecurity testing results are notably stronger. An Anthropic spokesperson described the model as representing a step change in AI performance and the most capable they have built to date. The company also confirmed they have completed training on Claude Mythos and are currently working with a small group of early access customers to test it. They emphasized they are being deliberate about the release given the strength of its capabilities. This careful approach makes sense when you consider what the documents reveal about potential cybersecurity risks. The leaked documents contained something that should give everyone pause. Anthropic's own assessment of Mythos describes it as being currently far ahead of any other AI model in cyber capabilities. That is not marketing language, that is a warning. The company believes this model can identify and exploit software vulnerabilities in ways that previous systems simply could not manage. Think about what that means for a moment. Software vulnerabilities exist everywhere in every system we use. They are discovered gradually, typically by skilled researchers who spend enormous amounts of time probing code and testing boundaries. Mythos appears capable of accelerating that process dramatically. Anthropic recognized this danger early. The company decided to restrict early access to organizations focused specifically on cyber defense. This is an unusual move in an industry where new models are typically rolled out as widely as possible, as quickly as possible. But Anthropic saw enough risk in Mythos to change its standard approach. The concern is not theoretical. According to the documents, there has already been a disrupted Chinese state-sponsored campaign that used Claude code to infiltrate approximately 30 organizations. That incident demonstrates exactly what security researchers have been warning about. The tools exist, and they are already being tested by bad actors. This creates an uncomfortable reality. The same capabilities that help defenders find and patch vulnerabilities also help attackers find and exploit them. Anthropic is trying to stay ahead of that problem by limiting who gets access during these early stages. Whether that approach will be enough remains an open question. The market reaction was swift and telling when news of the Claude Mythos leak broke. Investors did not just pause to consider the implications. They moved. Software stocks took an immediate hit across the board. Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, and Fortinet all saw their share prices drop between 4 and 6% in early trading. These were not small fluctuations. These are major players in the cybersecurity space, companies that billions of dollars of investor confidence ride on. The broader software sector felt it too. The iShares expanded tech software sector AI, which tracks a wide basket of software companies, slid nearly 3%. That kind of coordinated drop suggests something more than routine market noise. Investors were clearly spooked by what they read in those leaked documents. But the ripple effects extended beyond traditional tech stocks. Bitcoin tumbled back to around $66,000. Now, you might wonder what an AI model leak has to do with cryptocurrency. The connection lies in how investors are interpreting the broader implications. The leaked documents described Mythos as having unprecedented capabilities in finding and exploiting software vulnerabilities. That kind of power raises questions about the entire software ecosystem, including the blockchain networks that cryptocurrencies rely on. What we are seeing is a moment of collective realization. Investors are connecting dots between AI advancement and systemic risk. The companies that sell security software are suddenly facing a future where their products might be outpaced by AI. Systems that can find vulnerabilities faster than humans can patch them, and if software itself becomes more vulnerable, then everything built on software becomes more vulnerable, too. The leaked documents also pulled back the curtain on something else entirely. They revealed plans for an exclusive invitation-only CEO summit scheduled to take place over 2 days at an 18th-century English countryside manor. Dario Amodei, Anthropic's chief executive, would personally host the gathering. This was not some casual industry conference, it was a carefully orchestrated event designed to put Anthropic face to face with the people who run the world's largest companies. The location itself feels significant. An 18th-century manor in the English countryside suggests something intentional. It creates an atmosphere of exclusivity and prestige. You are not just buying software licenses, you are being invited into a select group, one that gets early access to technology that could reshape how your business operates. This summit fits neatly into Anthropic's broader corporate strategy. The company has been pushing hard to sell its AI models to large enterprise customers. That is where the real money is. Individual subscriptions are fine, but corporate contracts are worth far more. Events like this give Anthropic a chance to build relationships directly with decision-makers, to explain their vision, and to demonstrate why their models deserve serious consideration. When asked about the new model, Anthropic's spokesperson said something telling. They said the company is being deliberate about how it releases the model, given the strength of its capabilities. That word deliberate carries weight here. Anthropic knows they have something powerful. They also know that power demands caution. Working with a small group of early access customers first allows them to understand how the model behaves in real-world scenarios before opening it up more broadly. It is a measured approach, and it signals that Anthropic takes the responsibility seriously.